Hello. Basically, what we're going to do here now in part two is just a little bit of refinement. Sketched out the ships here. Now, what you want to be doing is either carving away at them ships or adding on to them ships. So that's really the idea. What we're going to be doing here now, I know that I've drawn this out sort of like a line drawing. I'm going to fill in areas now. Um, what's important is that the shapes are there. I'll fill in areas and take areas away and add areas on. We're going to add a wee bit of darkness. Uh, in another lesson, we're going to talk about value and how important value is. Value is just basically how dark things are and how light things are. And we'll be talking about that in depth in another lesson. For the meantime, all you really need to know is if you want to determine how light or dark something is, you just drop your eyes, you squint your eyes 50%, drop them down, and the things that fall in the darkness, we're keeping in shadow. The things that seem to be light, or like I say, just in the light, just keep them in light. And so, first off, most oil paintings, it's advisable they work from dark up to light. So first off, I'm going to start reinstating some darks and just basically doing a bit of a tidy up here. So if we do a wee bit of tidy up, sharpen, you can see how this image can be very, very similar and a great underpainting for tackling this painting uh, within no time. So we started with our shapes. Now it's time for a little bit of refinement. So we'll start here now. The first thing I'm going to do is mix up some dark. Now a bit of oil, and as you'll see here, we've got ultramarine blue here in the corner. Ultramarine blue, we get a tiny bit of it and we put it down, and when we mix this with our brown paint, we are going to get a nice dark brown. So you'll see this now when the first area that I actually see here that I can put this dark brown on pretty quick would be the grass. So I'm going to start slightly darkening this area just to make it stand out. That's really what it's about at this stage. You don't never want to go to black. You want to just make it dark, make it stand out. It's just separating different areas out. So the grass will be separate from the water and the water from the land when you start adding on some of these tones. So getting on the dark here, we're onto the grass first. So getting some of this grass on here. And again, I'm not at all concerned about at this stage about getting any detail. It's just tidying up a bit more than anything. The real detail doesn't come to the next stage. You can go on the real detail, and sometimes I might even put the real detail on to the end. And sparingly, some of the best paintings I've ever seen have been there hasn't been a lot of detail on it. Detail seems to kill the painting a lot of the time. Uh, if you can get the color right, the lights and darks right, and your shapes right, uh, you're going to have a fantastic painting. So that's the grass. Basically suggested on pretty quickly. Now as I squint my eyes here, is there any other areas that you can see that drop on the darkness? Yep, you can see this here up in the corner here, this bush. It seems to just drop down on the darkness. And you can see now how that I'm actually connecting my shapes up a bit. You know, so what seemed like an egg here now is transforming into something else. So I can't stress enough how it's important to keep the paint nice and thin at this stage. You don't want to apply any thick paint at all. Hence these colours are great to work with to start off with. So we move over here and they're onto the castle. There's a whole side of this castle that seems very, very, very dark. So what I'm going to do is add a tiny bit extra blue to it just again to separate it out. These seem warm here when we're working. We're going to just cool down the castle and keep it dark. So look, we're getting this nice dark bluish dark on here. Color is irrelevant at this stage. So we're just making this dark and a bit bluer. What we're doing is we're getting a separation. Now this is a bit where you can actually start, like we're saying, adding on. So the castle here, for instance, we just put it on as almost like a cube shape, like a 3D rectangle. Now at this stage you can definitely start working on wee bits of detail. You could get a very small brush or a smaller brush, and you could start with really looking at some of the tiny bits of detail there and getting these wee bits of detail on there now. But what's more important than the detail again is that you're getting these shapes right. These shapes, if this castle for instance may be a bit too it may be too wide at this side, so again we just cut it. You can see it's a lot thinner now. Maybe that might be the best way, that might be a better version of the castle here. We just work our way down here again and just reinstating what we have here. We're working down, we're throwing in some darker areas where we seem to think it's a bit darker. So I look at these mountains, and a lot of the time too is what you have to think is that mountain's pretty dark, but the mountain isn't as dark as elements ahead of the mountain, such as the grass there in the bank, and that's darker than the mountain. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll just squint my eyes. I'll see that the mountain is pretty dark, but it's not as dark as what's ahead of it, and I'll rub on a tone here that is pretty dark, but it's definitely not going to be as dark as my foreground here that I put on there. That foreground is darker, and that foreground therefore stays ahead of the mountain. It stays in front of the mountain. So with these wee tones, you can see that still looks pretty good, the mountain there. We can add wee bits in, wee lumps and bumps on the whole mountain. We're looking here again. I might reinstate some of my darks just again here, just to make them come forward. The darkest seems to be down at this grass here, so I might actually make this a bit darker again. Another wee tip is if you want something to shoot forward, sharp edges. Edges is another thing we're going to discuss, but in another lesson. The sharper you make the mark, the edge, then the more contrast it creates, and it will actually jump right forward at you. So if I get a bit of darkness here and I start making a couple of very sharp edges where the grass would be, then you can see how this grass takes on a lot. The grass shoots forward then from everything else. Detail here in the background we can sort of smudge out. This is what you would call a soft edge. We just let it smudge out. And we keep the sharp edges for where you want your eye to go to. So I might make a very sharp edge maybe at this castle where it meets the sky, so it stands out. And you can see already that castle really starts to stand out. Now just looking at we're just looking at the grass here, the green grass. It's on white here. We don't want it to be on white. We want to just get it on here. You're always trying to get rid of this white. So I'll again just smudge on a colour here. And that colour is smudged on here, and as long as that's colour as long as it's smudged on and it's lighter than here and it's not too dark, you're starting to see a picture build up already. The water here is darker than the grass, so when you put the water in, we're actually going to make the water a bit darker. And you can actually come in with a bit of pure blue here. And we'll take some of our sharp edges off here just to get the actual water on here. We'll take some of the sharp edges off and we'll reinstate them again. So I'm just going to take the sharp edges off, throw on what I'm just going to suggest in the meantime, Davy water. Obviously I'm going to need to darken this water down, but again, I'm not too fussed. My main objective here at the minute is actually just getting rid of the white. That's the main thing. Kill the white. That's the key all the time. Get some of this back on again now. This nice sharpness of the grass, so it stays ahead of the water. Again, we come on here in between them stones. It's pretty dark. We can come on and get wee bits in between the stones here. The stones seem to be very light, so I might just keep them that nice light there. Just might keep them that light so they stand out in the meantime. The fence seems to be very light as well. What I might do is just suggest on the fence here, and I'm going to get some of this grass on here. I'll suggest on the fence here, and I might get a wee bit of white spirits. And with the white spirits, we can compact the white. So we can. And we could suggest that fence. So with a wee bit of work here, we can get this fence actually starting to stand out. So I think you're actually you'll get what I mean actually now with the idea that you don't really need much more. We'll just darken this down a bit here. And again, these clouds we can do anytime. You know, you can suggest the clouds on here anytime. We have plenty of time to actually work them clouds up and stuff. But you can see within basically 10 minutes, you're able to establish a good underpainting, a good base. Our next step then will be obviously when you're happy with what you got done is to lay in some colour and matching the colour and matching the actual tone of the colour. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. It's really easy. All we work with is just the red, yellow and blue. That's it. That's all we work with the sienna, nothing else. And this year you can have as much time at it as you want and as much fun with it as you want. And your whites will be the white of the canvas you rub out with this. No white, just ultramarine blue and sienna. That's it. And that basically you can create the greatest paintings with just these two colours. So give it a go. See how you get on with it. Pick your image as well, a good image that you actually want to paint. That's the key. All this is about is just getting you used to and comfortable with the idea of painting. The underpainting is a great process. It's enjoyable, and because the canvas is primed, as quick as you put something in, we can just take it out. It's back. It's like a whiteboard. So have a go. Like I say, let me know how you get on with it. Good luck.